staff will call the roll to establish a quorum. Ms. Griffin.
I think Casey's still having trouble getting in, so I'll go ahead and call the roll with your permission, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Cobbins.
Here.
Mr. Holt.
Here.
Saw him. He's here. Mr. Holt's here.
I heard here.
Here.
Very light here.
Ms. Harpool for Mr. Gentile.
Here.
Mr. Jensen.
Here.
Ms. Johnson.
Here.
Mrs. Maxwell.
Here.
Mrs. McIntyre.
Here.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Here.
Mr. Wells. Mr. Wells. Mr. Chairman Eby. Mr. Chairman, 9 members are present.
I declare a quorum is present and we are duly convened. At this time, I'm going to call on General Counsel Rachel Suppay to read the statement of necessity for electronic meeting. Ms. Suppay.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Ms. Suppay. Thank you.
I'm Rachel Suppay, General Counsel for the State Board of Education. Pursuant to TCA Section 844-108B3, the Tennessee State Board of Education hereby submits this letter as its determination of necessity for its special called board meeting held electronically at 9 a.m. on July 30th, 2025. This meeting is called to address the time-sensitive consideration of emergency rules delineating the process by which the Tennessee Department of Education will allocate state education funds to charter schools as required by Chapter 456 of the Public Acts of 2025. In order to distribute the funds on or about August 15th, as required by Rule 0520-12-05-.121A, it was necessary for the State Board to consider these rules on an emergency basis on first and final reading. Due to the time-sensitive nature of these matters, and because State Board members reside across the state, it was determined that a physical quorum of the members could not be assembled in Nashville for this meeting, and an electronic meeting was therefore required. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Suppay. At this time, I would ask if any members have any opening remarks that they would like to make. Dr. Morrison, any opening remarks?
None for me. Thank you.
I would just like to welcome Josh Walton, who is our new communications officer. I've been working with Josh over the last couple of weeks, and I think he's going to be an outstanding communications director for us for the state board. Welcome, Josh, and here's your first meeting.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Nothing like challenges to get started. So we do apologize to our audience who's watching this that we had some technical difficulties, and there was a couple of, I think the state Wi-Fi was down, but we're off and running right now. So with that, I would like to remind everyone that since we are meeting electronically, I'd ask members to identify themselves when they make their motions or a second. And remember, according to our board's meeting policy, TCA 844 and TCA 844-108 both require all votes taken during electronic meetings of the board to be taken by the call of the roll. With that, we'll begin with our first item, which are consent items. We have 3 items up on consent: the adoption of the agenda, the State Board of Education quarterly meeting dates, and the School Board Training Advisory Committee. Is there anyone who would like to move any of those items out of the consent agenda? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept all items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Making a motion. Please
Second.
state your
Gordon
name.
Mullenhour.
Daryl Cobbins, so moved.
Cobbins moved and
Gordon
Mr.
Mullenhour, second.
Jensen.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? If none, then I will ask I don't know if Mr. Griffin or Mr. James will.
Mr. Cobbins,
Aye.
Ms. Albertson, Mr. Holt,
Aye.
Mr. Jensen,
Aye.
Ms. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Maxwell,
Aye.
Ms. McInturf,
Aye.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Aye.
Mr. Wells. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes.
Motion passes. Thank you. We'll move on to our only item that we have on the agenda today, other item we have on the agenda, on action items of final reading. It's charter schools allocation of state and local emergency funds, emergency rule 05201401-03. Ms. Mary Ann Dursky from the State Department of Education. Ms. Dursky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. State Board Charter Schools Allocation of State and Local Funds Rule 0520-14-01-.03 outlines the requirements for calculation, allocation, and disbursement of state and local funds to public charter schools. Chapter 456 of the Public Acts of 2025 requires the state share of funding a charter school student generates in the prior year through the Tennessee Investment in Student Achievement, or TISA formula, to be dispersed directly to the public charter schools rather than to the authorizer or geographic local education agency, unless the public charter school is authorized by the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission or the Achievement School District. In accordance with the law, local boards of education that authorize public charter schools must still disperse to the public charter school the local student-generated funds for public charter school students from the prior year, the average per pupil state and local funds received by the LEA in the current school year above those required by TISA for each public charter school student, the per pupil state and local funds received by the LEA for member students in the public charter school in the current school year beyond the prior year's membership, and all appropriate allocations under federal law, including but not limited to IDEA and ESEA funds. Additionally, Public Chapter 456 requires the TISA guide to include an explanation of how a public charter school may dispute an alleged error in an allocation to its authorizer and the procedures the authorizer must follow in response. This item updates State Board rule to reflect Public Chapter 456. The rule changes provide additional detail on the calculation, allocation, and disbursement of state funds allocated directly to public charter schools. Public Chapter 456 took effect on July 1st, 2025, and this item is being proposed as an emergency rule to ensure timely implementation by the start of the 2025-26 school year. In accordance with the Department's TCA Rule 0520-12-02-05-.12, LEAs and public charter schools will receive their first TISA payment on or about August 15th, and an emergency rule ensures there are state board rules in place before the first payment. A permanent version of these rule changes will be on first reading at the August 15th, 2025 State Board quarterly meeting. State Board staff will hold a rulemaking hearing between first and final reading for public comment on the permanent rule. The Department of Education recommends approval of this item on first and final reading. The State Board of Education staff concurs with this recommendation. I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Dursky. So we have a recommendation for approval for charter schools allocation of state and local emergency funds, emergency rule 05201401-03. Is there a motion to accept this recommendation?
Darrell
Sorry.
Cobbins, so moved.
Was that Ryan? Was that Ryan Holt who moved?
Hear me? Beverly.
Yeah. Barely hear you, but I think Ryan moved and I think Daryl Cobbin second. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments for Ms. Dursky or anyone else?
Okay.
Mr. Holt?
So my understanding is under the new law, the funds that would have flowed from the state to the certain authorizers to charter schools now just go directly from the state to those charter schools. Does this change the amount of funding that charter schools receive at all, or is it simply it eliminates the pass through of certain authorizers of those funds?
Thank you. It does not change the allocation to the public charter school. It does directly allocate only the state portion of the funding directly to the charter school. The authorizing LEA will still be responsible for dispersing the local portion of funding to the charters.
At the end of the day, is the expectation that public charter schools would receive the same amount of funding as they have prior to this new law and new rule? It's just that the route change, but the ultimate amount of funding would remain the same.
That is correct. There would be there's no change in the funding.
Mullenhour, did you have a question?
No, sir.
Anyone else have any questions? Mr. Holt, did you get your question fully answered? Are you satisfied? Yes.
This is Larry Jensen. I have a related question to what was just asked. We're talking about two different sources for those dollars, and I'm want to understand the timing to make sure that money comes from the state to the charter school, and then how long is it required by the local LEA to disperse the remaining funds? Is there any stipulation or guidance on that?
The state will disperse the state portion of the funding to the charters so that it arrives on the 15th of each month, as with all of our TISA payments. Authorizing LEAs are required to disperse the local funds at least 9 times during the year. And it's my understanding that they generally follow the same timing as the TISA payments, so that I think it's the expectation that on the 15th, funding will be available to public charters.
Okay, I guess
Mr. Jensen.
I hear that, but I'm just concerned that the delay should, I don't know. I just want to make sure that money's not delayed inside the LEA for extended period of times. I don't know how we do that, but that's a concern that I have.
I think what Ms. Dursky said was basically what was in the law, and if you look in the rule, it does say that they have the LEA does disperse it 9 times during the year, but I understand your concerning question.
The change in the state dispersing a portion of the total funding and the LEA dispersing the balance should not result in a delay. We should both be aiming for the same date. And this is historically what has happened. I don't believe the LEAs are changing their disbursement schedules. They'll continue with the schedules they have used in the past.
Yeah, that was a comment I was going to ask. Is prior to this law change, the LEAs dispersed all the funds, and they did it on a basis like this, and I don't think that was ever an issue. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have not heard that there was an issue.
Thank you. That's helpful for that clarification.
Any other questions? If no questions, we have a motion and we have a second for charter schools allocation of state and local funds, emergency rule 05201401-0.03. Mr. Griffin, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Cobbins,
Aye.
Ms. Albertson, Mr. Holt.
Aye.
Mr. Jensen,
Aye.
Ms. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Maxwell,
Aye.
Ms. McInturf,
Aye.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Aye.
Mr. Wells, Mr. Eby, Chairman.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have eight ayes.
Passes. The purposes of the special called meeting having been fulfilled, I declare it and the board adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.